I'm about to show you why the most beautiful plants at big box stores are actually an expensive trap. You see perfection, I see a countdown clock. Let's see what's really happening underneath those store lights. Back at it with another buy or pass. We've done a lot of these, but today is the great market correction. 6 plants, all passes. Let's fix some mistakes. Okay, we are starting with one of the most iconic plant mistakes in the game right now, and I know some of you are already typing in the comments. We're talking about the fiddle leaf fig. Look at this thing. I mean, stunning. Every interior design magazine has one. Every Pinterest mood board has one. Instagram has been in love with this thing for a solid decade now. And listen, I get it. I completely get it. It is genuinely one of the most beautiful plants you can put in a room. I will also be straightforward with you. I bought one of these, a fiddle leaf fig from a big box store, and it made me feel like an absolute failure. Here's what's actually happening, folks. When you buy a fiddle leaf fig from a Home Depot or a Lowe's, etc., that plant was grown in a perfect greenhouse. We're talking 65 to 80% humidity, ideal indirect light, a stable environment where it has not moved more than a few inches its entire life. Then it gets put on a truck, shipped across the country, dropped under fluorescent lighting in a garden center, and eventually you take it home and put it next to a window that gets 3 hours of afternoon sun with a heating vent blowing right underneath it. That plant has absolutely no idea what just happened to it. Fiddle leaf figs drop leaves when you look at them wrong. They drop leaves when the seasons change. They also drop leaves when you simply move them from one side of the room to the other. I wish I was being dramatic, but the ones that survive long-term in people's homes, and they do exist, I've seen them, almost always came from a specialty nursery that acclimated them into indoor home conditions over weeks before, the whole sale went down. The big box version, 9 times out of 10, you are buying yourself a countdown clock. Pass. Hard pass, at least until you find one from a proper plant shop that knows what it's doing. All right, now on to plant number 2, because, this hurts me. They are so beautiful in the store. The Majesty palm. Every big box garden center has a whole section of these lined up like they own the place. Tall, dramatic, tropical. They make your living room look like a resort. And they're usually somewhere in the price range between $7 and $14, which feels like an absolute steal. The price point, that's part of the trap. See, the Majesty palm is, and I say this with love, an outdoor plant that has been lied to about its life choices. These things want 6 to 8 hours of full direct tropical sun. They want humidity that most of us would need a whole home humidifier system to achieve. And those brown tips, the ones you see, literally every Majesty palm sitting in the store right now, that is the plant screaming for more humidity from the moment it arrived on that truck. They also need serious root space and consistent fertilizing. This is not a set it and forget it type of plant. This is a full-time commitment to a plant that was never meant to live in your living room. Now, if you have a sunroom, a greenhouse, or you live somewhere genuinely tropical, I would likely be having a different conversation with you. But for the overwhelming majority of you watching this in a, standard house or apartment with normal indoor conditions, the Majesty palm is a gorgeous tragedy in a plastic nursery pot. Leave it there. There are incredible palms and palm adjacent plants that will actually thrive for you. So many of them. So pass on the Majesty palm. Okay, before anyone jumps into the comments on this one, I need to be really specific about what we're talking about here. Phalaenopsis orchids, cared for properly, one of the most rewarding houseplants you can keep. I have orchids. I love orchids. This is not about orchids being bad plants. This is specifically about buying an orchid in full bloom from a big box store. And here's why that is a trap for most people. When you see that stunning orchid at, let's say, Trader Joe's or Home Depot with 5, 6 open blooms looking absolutely perfect, that plant has already done its thing. You're buying it at the end of the show. Those blooms are going to last maybe 2 to 4 more weeks. They're going to drop. And then you're going to be left with what looks like two sad sticks poking out of some bark chips, wondering what went wrong. And here's the thing, nothing went wrong. That's a resting orchid. But most people think it's dead and they throw it out because nobody at the big box store told them that reblooming requires specific temperature drops. That's right. The right light exposure and 6 to 12 months of patience. The big box store versions are also often overwatered inside those decorative foil sleeves, which traps moisture, causes root rot, and means the plant you're buying is already stressed, just even before it gets to your car. The smarter play, buy an orchid with mostly buds that haven't opened yet. You get the full show at home and the plant is in better shape. Or, this is great, buy from a specialty orchid grower. Full bloom from big box store, conditional pass. Go in with your eyes open or don't go in at all. All right, peace lilies, such a genuinely wonderful plant in the right circumstances. They'll drop dramatically when they need water, basically begging you for a drink, which is honestly the most considerate communication style of any plant that I own. They tolerate low light, the blooms are clean and elegant. In theory, this is a perfect beginner plant. Here's the issue though. With the big box version, they almost always arrive root bound, consistently overwatered, and frequently showing the early signs of root rot before they've even made it onto the shelf. These plants get shipped in on a schedule, watered on a schedule, regardless of whether the soil actually needs it. And then they sit in those plastic nursery pots with saturated soil for weeks on end. Root rot sets in fast under those conditions. And here's the insidious part, guys. You can't always see it from the outside. The plant still looks perky, right? Under the store lights, droops a little because, obviously it's stressed. Someone waters it again. The cycle just continues. You bring it home, you think you're giving it a good life. And then this is where it hurts. 6 weeks later, you're watching it decline and you can't figure out why. Now, I'll give this one a conditional. If you find a peace lily that looks genuinely healthy, firm stems, no yellowing leaves, no mushy smell from the soil, it can work. But your success rate from a big box store is dramatically lower than from a reputable local nursery where plants move faster and get better individual attention and care. Before you buy one, squeeze the pot, smell the soil, check for yellowing. If the display pots are sitting in water trays, well, that is your sign to walk away. Mostly pass with conditions. All right, plant 5 is one of the most visually stunning houseplants on the entire planet. It knows it, and it will make sure you know it too. We're talking about the Calathea, sometimes sold as prayer plant, sometimes rattlesnake plant, sometimes peacock plant, sometimes, whatever the big box store felt like writing on the tag that morning. Whatever they're calling it, if it has those incredible patterned leaves, it belongs to the Calathea family. And I have some very, very important information for you. This plant will humble you. Calatheas want distilled water or rainwater. Tap water minerals will brown those gorgeous edges over time, so don't do that. They want consistent humidity above 50%, bright indirect light with absolutely zero direct sun, temperatures between 65 and 80 degrees with no cold drafts, no hot drafts, no vents nearby, no fluctuation. They are essentially the 5-star hotel guest of the plant world, and they will let you know immediately when their standards aren't being met. Big box stores are not running a 5-star hotel. These plants arrive stressed, super stressed. They get watered with tap water. They sit near automatic sliding doors where cold air rushes in every few minutes. Those crispy edges on basically every Calathea at Home Depot, that's not cosmetic. That's the plant telling you it's already been through some stuff. Calatheas are genuinely magical, though, and I will fight for them, but they need to be sourced from somewhere that's been treating them right. From big box, you are starting at a deficit before you've even gone home. Pass. Online specialty sellers and local tropical nurseries are your friends on this one. Last plant now, my biggest pass of the entire episode. And I say this as someone who is genuinely in love with this plant because fragrance alone makes it one of my all-time favorites in the entire plant kingdom, the Gardenia. Oh man, that smell is unbelievable. But here's the thing, smell is also the reason why big box stores sell thousands every spring and summer. They put them in near the entrance. The fragrance hits you the second you walk through those doors, and suddenly you are reaching for your wallet. I completely understand. I've been there. But friends, the Gardenia is an outdoor plant. Wearing indoor clothes. These plants want full outdoor sun, 6+ hours of direct sunlight daily. They want high humidity that no standard home provides. They need cool nights in the low 50s to set buds for the next season. They are spider mite magnets the moment you bring them indoors. And that magnificent bloom you fell in love with at the store, well, it is very often the last one you will see for a very long time. The outdoor version, planted in the ground, the right climate, zones 7 through 11, in your yard, it really is magical. I will stand behind that all day long. But in a spot purchased inside in your home from a big box store in the middle of spring or summer when they know that you can't resist it, pass. The hardest pass of the whole episode. I am personally saving you from yourself on this one. All right, let's recap the scoreboard because we just saved you a lot of money and a lot of heartbreak. Quick run through. Plant number 1, fiddle leaf fig. Gorgeous, but a countdown clock. Pass. Plant number 2, Majesty palm, outdoor plant with indoor dreams. Pass. Plant number 3, orchid in full bloom. You're buying the end of the show. Conditional pass. Plant number 4, peace lily, root rot, roulette. Conditional pass. Plant number 5, Calathea, the 5-star hotel guest. Pass. Plant number 6, Gardenia, the hardest pass of the entire episode, but a pass nonetheless. 6 plants, 6 honest verdicts. Save the picture, screenshot it, take it to the garden center with you. Your wallet and purse will thank you later. And look, if you own any of these and they are absolutely thriving, first of all, I salute you. Second of all, please come find me in the comments right now because I genuinely want your secrets. Seriously, drop a comment below and tell me which of these you've tried and what happened. This section is going to be absolutely electric, and I'm reading every single one of them. And if this episode just saved you from a mistake you were about to make the next time you walked into a big box store, well, that is literally why I built this series. That is the whole point of Buy or Pass. The great market correction. We are fixing this one at a time. If you haven't already, please like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit that ding dong bell so you'll be notified when our next week's Buy or Pass drops. Happy growing, and I'll see you in the next video.